We are just a few days away from hearing fight songs echo throughout Lincoln Financial Field once again. The NFL regular season is finally upon us, and the Eagles kick off their campaign to win a second Lombardi trophy in 3 years by opening up against the Washington Redskins. Now, over the next few days, we'll be going into deep depths about the Philadelphia Eagles, including a live stream pre-game show you can catch live here on phillysportsnetwork.com. But we already know plenty about the Birds. We've been spamming you with content all offseason. But what about the opponent? What do we need to know about the Washington Redskins ahead of this game, and what should Eagles fans be looking out for? My name is Jenkins, and this is the first installment of Know Your Enemy. Before we get started though, guys, as always, make sure you leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you enjoy this sort of content. We want to build the biggest, most passionate fan base of Philadelphia sports fans on YouTube, and we want you to be a part of it. And as always, you can get your daily dose of Philadelphia sports coverage from myself and all of our writers over at phillysportsnetwork.com. And one final mention, we will be hosting a pre-game live stream due to your demand on this Saturday at around 8 PM. We'll be bringing on some of your favourite writers from Philly Sports Network, breaking down the game ahead, some of the key talking points, and of course our predictions, betting tips, and plenty of banter and giveaways in between. So make sure you stick around for that live right here on our YouTube channel at 8 PM on Saturday. A 7-9 season for Washington can almost be forgiven due to the ridiculous amount of injuries the team endured, although it does add some further impressiveness to the Eagles' postseason run. The entire offensive line and an arsenal of quarterbacks all ended up watching the season from the sidelines as the team struggled to find any kind of consistency, relying on their defense and special teams to keep them in games, as echoed by their +7 turnover differential. The first big off-season decision was whether or not to keep head coach Jay Gruden, who has now missed a postseason in each of his last 3 seasons. But after that was confirmed, the rebuild began. Dwayne Haskins was drafted as the quarterback of the future, and his selection was followed by a stud defensive end in Montez Sweat. The Eagles will only have to worry about one of those names though, with Case Keenum being named the Week 1 starter for Washington. The last time the Eagles faced Keenum, let me refresh your memory a minute. Yeah, that was Keenum's only game against the Eagles, and he finished with 271 passing yards, completing 58% of his passes with 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions in a very ugly loss. He now steps into a hostile Lincoln Financial Field as a career backup and someone that you honestly can't help but feel sorry for. He's been shoved around from LA to Minnesota to Washington, just all around the NFL as a fringe starting talent that initially has the job and then gets pushed to the side in favour of a younger guy. Will this be the time he finally clings onto a starting role? Probably not, but it's do or die for his career, and he'll be protected by... yeah, that's not looking good. Eric Flowers, as we all know, is a cast-off from the Giants, and any New York Giants fan will tell you that he is probably in the running for the worst offensive lineman in franchise history, especially considering he was drafted 9th overall. In his career against the Eagles, he has 5 penalties in 6 games, 3 of which were holding, and according to Pro Football Focus, from the time of his first game with the Giants to week 2 of last season, he's allowed 180 quarterback pressures. 180. He gave up the 15th, 13th and 2nd most pressures dating back from 2018, 17 and 16 respectively. Yeah, he's pretty much a human turnstile at this point. The Redskins also went out of their way to acquire former Raiders player Donald Penn, but he's only played in 4 games last season. 3-time Pro Bowler did move from left tackle to right tackle, but he earned a Pro Football Focus grade of 47 out of 100. It's not glowing, and expect the Eagles pass rush to have a very strong field day against a new quarterback in the scheme and a still banged up offensive line with plenty of holes to exploit. But again, this isn't about the Eagles, and we're focusing just on the Redskins, so for all Eagles matchups and analysis, just stay locked into this channel, alright? The Redskins have a 3-headed monster in the backfield that demands respect, and it all starts with one man, Derrius Guice, the LSU product who is now heading into his Ben Simmons rookie year after missing his entire first season with a torn ACL. The man has a ton of talent and is capable of carrying the workload for this Redskins offense, and he may need to, given what's lining up in front of him. Rushing against the Eagles' defensive line won't be easy. The run defense ranked 7th in 2018 and averaged 80.8 yards given up in 2017 on the ground. Jim Schwartz has really figured out how to build a monstrous run defense, and getting any kind of momentum on the ground is going to be difficult. But luckily for the Redskins, they've got Adrian Peterson, who, as all Eagles fans will remember, did this last time he faced them. On top of that tomfoolery, he's also posted his 8th career 1,000-yard season and will be joined by Chris Thompson. The intriguing matchup here is the linebackers who will be manned up and tasked with cleaning up, but more on the Birds players tomorrow's video, and just for the sake of sanity here, we won't mention Wendell Smallwood. Veteran tight ends Vernon Davis and Jordan Reed will match up with Malcolm Jenkins in a clash of titans as they always do, trying to provide a release valve for Keenum as he gets acquainted with a very young and very rapid receiving corps. Rookies Terry McLaurin and Kevin Harmon headline the group, while Trey Quinn and Paul Richardson add veteran leadership. Speed is the name of the game in Washington, and the Eagles corners will have to be secure in their tackles as a result, especially if Ronald Darby, the team's fastest corner, can't go the whole hog due to the fact he's rehabbing from injury. But again, no more Eagles talk. Eagles are coming tomorrow. On defense, it all comes down to one man, a 4-time Pro Bowler who in 16 games against the Eagles has, get ready for it, 58 tackles, 20 quarterback hits, 13 tackles for a loss, 11.5 sacks, 6 forced fumbles, a pick 6 and 2 passes defensed. It's linebacker Ryan Kerrigan, and Lane Johnson said it sucks trying to stop him, and who can blame him? The man is just incredible, and expect the Redskins to try and bring heat, expecting some rust from Carson Wentz to capitalise on. It will be down to the Eagles' offensive line to make sure that bit doesn't happen. Washington may have added Landon Collins, but losing Ha Clinton Dix and linebackers Preston Smith and Zach Brown could really hurt this unit. Behind Mason Foster, depth is kind of scarce, and there is more pressure than ever on a very dominant defensive line that rarely gets the respect it deserves. It's young, and 3 of its mainstays are under the age of 25 years old, but everyone already knows about the talent possessed by former first-round picks Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne. Allen in 16 games last year registered 8 sacks and more than 60 tackles, whereas Payne had 5 sacks in his rookie season, and Matt Ioannidis sacked the quarterback 7.5 times in 9 starts on his way to a contract extension. Vaitai, who is starting at right guard, is going to be tested. The man has transitioned inside, has looked very good so far, but he's facing a very ruthless interior defensive line, and the tackles have got plenty of speed to handle on the outside. In the secondary, Quentin Dunbar's 2018 ended in injury, but he'll likely be the man responsible for trying to contain homecoming king and former Redskin Deshaun Jackson. Norman will probably man up Alshon Jeffrey as he has in years past, but they now face a catch-22. If the Redskins want to get aggressive and press, they risk some huge problems if they get beaten. And Norman is a far better zone corner than he is in press and should point to playing it off coverage. But if they do that and they give the Eagles a cushion, there's big bodies and nifty speed that can be matched up anywhere and can ruin the corners underneath, getting the ball out quick for Carson Wentz and quickly shaking that rust. I'm talking about the Eagles again, aren't I? We'll get to that again in tomorrow's video. Well, this is your 29 Washington Redskins team. Expectations are low and there are plenty of questions still to be answered. The Eagles should have no problem beating them, and that's reflected by the massive line by Vegas. But what do the Eagles need to do to win? Find out tomorrow in the next installment of our Week 1 preview. But I'm going to give you guys one underdog on the Redskins to watch, and I don't know if he's going to see much of the field or not, but if you've been following this channel for a while, you'll know there is one player who I was very high on as a draft crush at the end of the draft process, and I'm a sucker for good cornerback play, and I believe that I think after a strong preseason, that's only further cemented my opinion that Jimmy Moreland is a diamond in the rough. In 56 games at James Madison, he knocked down 63 passes, intercepted 18, accumulated 208 tackles and recorded 7.5 for a loss. That's impressive, right? But when I tell you he's 5'11", 175 pounds, it's even more so. He's a scrappy corner who plays with a chip on his shoulder, and while he can get grabby at times, his ball skills are just flat out ridiculous. He presses hard at the line of scrimmage, and at the East-West Shrine game, he was the chirpiest of the bunch, barking at any dog who dared line up opposite him. So that is one player I would be willing to keep an eye on if he does see the field, even on special teams in Week 1. But guys, I need your Week 1 predictions down in the comments below. Again, don't forget, we're going to have a live stream coming on Saturday evening at around 8 PM Eastern, so I need you to tune in with me for that one. I want to see as many of you there as physically possible. Thank you so much for all of your support this offseason. It has been an absolute pleasure bringing you all kinds of mock drafts and and previews and breakdowns, and of course Eagles film rooms as well. We're really going to drive on to bring you as much Eagles content as we possibly can now that the regular season is on us. But if you have any ideas, if there's anything in particular you want to see us do, just let us know down in the comments, because this is your channel as much as ours, and we want to build this with you and build it for you. So from myself, Liam Jenkins, I'll see you next time in another episode of Know Your Enemy.